What's up guys, Mike Thomas, aka the Young Trishula here. As many of you probably know, Dragon Link won the French National Championship yesterday. However, this was not an ordinary Dragon Link list. Not only did it forgo the adventure package that currently gives Dragon a lot of its competitive edge in this metagame, it also played a much heavier Rokket package than is normally seen, and it included the very spicy tech of the Rokket Archetypes Fusion package. Thankfully, I speak a little bit of French, so I was able to understand the champion when he discussed his reasoning behind this choice. I figured I would share that logic with you all since I think it's actually quite interesting and quite smart. And this is coming from somebody who's seen a lot of competitive success with Dragon Link and has played this deck an absolute ton. But without wasting any more of your time, let's hop right into the deck. So since this list is fairly straightforward, I won't be explaining things too thoroughly, and I'm primarily just going to go over what Matthew says in his deck profile before sharing any of my own thoughts. So he played a large Rokket engine, and while he didn't go into too much detail on this, I assume this is because he was not only playing 60 cards, but also because that maximizes his chance of seeing the Rokket Tracer, which allows him to use his Ravine more frequently for his spicy engine. So he did play the standard Chaos Space package with the 3 Chaos Space, the 2 babies, and the Levianeer. However, he also included the Chaos Emperor Dragon, the former prize card, into this mix just as a way to generate a little bit of extra advantage for the deck. As you might notice, there's not a rank 8 monster in the extra deck, so it was not included for that purpose. It's just there for the additional grind game and for the free body. And this is also complemented as well by the level 1 engine in the deck. He played 1 copy of Brotar and 1 copy of Black Metal Dragon, along with the Red MD and the 1-for-1 to tutor them from the deck. So this is kind of a nice package. The Brotar is something that we haven't seen in Dragon Link in quite a while, being able to, use its effect to search either of the big monsters or in this list searching out some of the spice cards as well. So very, very nice to see Brotar return to the Dragon Link strategy. He played 2 copies of Nocto as the quote Dragon Link good stuff package, as well as kind of interesting 3 copies of Chamber, 3 copies of Dragon Maid Tidying. He mentioned that this was because of the prevalence of Mystic Mine in the format, as well as being good cards to mill off of Pepega Ruler, and also cards that just made Forbidden Droplet stronger in the deck. And then following these, he just played 19 hand traps. So you can think about this list as really just a standard 41 card Dragon Link list with 19 hand traps thrown on top of it. So the last 20 cards or so of the deck are really just defensive cards, padding it out to 60, just so that you have a consistent deck with a bunch of defensive cards, very similar to what we were seeing a few months ago at YCS Charlotte time, just with a consistent core strategy plus a bunch of hand traps to shut down opponent strategies, and reliably being able to see multiple hand traps as well as a way to play the game. But now let's talk about what makes this deck list unique, and that's the inclusion of the Rapid Trigger and the Double Disruptor Dragon in the deck. Now, Double Disruptor Dragon is a level 8 monster that contributes itself to summon 2 Rockets with different names from your graveyard in defense position, and then it can also banish itself from the graveyard to add a Rapid Trigger from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Rapid Trigger, of course, being the Rokket archetypal fusion spell, which is a quick play spell that can fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck by destroying the proper materials on your field. But something interesting about this card is that it restricts the monster from being able to attack monsters except those special from the extra deck, but it also makes it so that it is unaffected by the activated effects of any other monster summoned from the extra deck. So it grants a little bit of protection for not a very bad downside, which is very nice, very interesting indeed. Now, what this package allows for is this allows you to summon the Borreload Furious Dragon with relative ease. Furious Dragon itself essentially just being an archetypal Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer for the Rokket deck. So in some ways you could say that this deck is actually a DPE Dragon Link deck, but instead of playing DPE, they are playing this package. At some level, it might actually be better than playing DPE, simply because you do not have to play non-engine cards to get to this package, and of course, you would not have to rely on the now banned Verte Anaconda. But why is this good? The first reason given in the deck profile is that Double Disruptor Dragon can help you play through Nibiru. Now, since this is pure Dragon Link, you will be ending on a Seals, and if you're familiar with how Dragon Link has dealt with Nibiru in the past, you'll know that a lot of the times, if you get Nibiru, you would summon Red MD off of that Seals, summon back your Tracer, go into Quad Boral, and make a Savage anyway. The idea is more or less the same here, except instead, you're either summoning Red MD to summon back a Double Disruptor Dragon from your graveyard, or just summoning that Double Disruptor straight from your deck, and using it to summon back your Tracer and your Recharger that way, and still going for your Savage, but now being able to banish the Double Disruptor from your graveyard and get the Rapid trigger to your hand. So instead of losing a card, you are gaining a card while still managing to set up your disruption through Nibiru, so that is very nice. But something that's really cool about this package is that if you manage to actually get up into your Borderland Dragon before you got Nibiru'd, you would be able to summon out your Tracer, summon out your Recharger, search that Rapid trigger to your hand, play Rapid trigger, summon your Borreload Furious Dragon, use Furious Dragon to pop itself and the Nibiru, and then use Furious Dragon to resummon the Borderland Dragon by banishing it from your graveyard. So it would just generate you so much advantage and allow you to kind of ignore Nibiru, so it's very nice for that. And I think this is a really cool way of playing through Nibiru in a way that Dragon Link has traditionally done in the past, however without some of the limitations that often came with it. Now, the other reason mentioned actually has to do with the other bit of spice that is present in this deck list, being the main deck copy of Kawaki Miru Drago. Now, as he mentions in his deck profile, Dragon has good matchups into every deck in the metagame, with the exception of Fluandereeze and Despia. Now, he said he didn't really respect Fluandereeze when coming into this event, but he did respect Despia quite a bit, so he said that he was perfectly happy to trade one brick in the deck for the ability to kind of auto-win the Despia matchup. If you're unaware, Kawaki Miru Drago makes it so that neither player can summon light or dark monsters while it's face up on the field. So obviously this is a card that you can summon off of your Hieratic Seals in that matchup to just completely shut them out of special summoning, since all of their cards are light and dark. This on its own wouldn't be that great, since Kawaki Miru Drago would come out as a 0/0 off of Seals. So he mentioned that having the Borreload Furious Dragon set up with the Rapid trigger allows you to protect that Kawaki Miru Drago and effectively just lock your Despia opponent out of being able to play the game by backing it up with a DPE effect. So this kind of covers the inherent fragileness that comes with playing Kawaki Miru Drago, and has always been kind of one of those things that if you were going to put Drago in your deck list, you always have to make sure that you have a way to back it up. Traditionally, it had just been the Dragon Maid Tidying to a point where you're just like, okay, I can only summon this card if I have Dragon Maid Tidying, but seeing the way that he's built his deck, he's almost always going to have this Rapid trigger set up to protect the Kawaki Miru Drago with the Borreload Furious Dragon, and even if he doesn't, he still does play the Tidying package to potentially protect it that way. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, why would you play Drago when it's also locking you out? Your whole extra deck is light and darks as well. Well, he did mention that having Romulus was really nice in his extra deck because this is how you link off and clear your own Kawaki Miru Drago to go for the OTK. So he didn't say it explicitly, but I think it was implied that the board that he's attempting to set up, at least in the Despia matchup, would be something like Seals plus Rapid trigger plus a Borreload Savage Dragon with the Romulus equipped and potentially another monster on the field just as something to fuse off with Rapid trigger. And then he would be using the Seals to bounce his own Romulus from the Spell and Trap card zone back to his extra deck to give him the ability to link off on his following turn, and then using that Rapid trigger once he knows that his Seals is resolving to summon the Kawaki Miru Drago to set up the Borreload Furious Dragon and protect the board that way. So if you were to do that in your opponent's standby phase by bouncing your own card, that would play around them having Super Poly, it would play around them having quite a bit of disruption, and would put you in a position where they can't really beat you. All they can really do is summon a Luber, search a fusion spell, and then you just pop the Aluber. They're not able to play, so they can set back row, do whatever, and then on the following turn, you're just going to OTK them by making your Romulus and just building a board and going from there. I did want to touch on these because these two bits of tech are very interesting for the Dragon Link strategy because they, when combined, significantly improve this deck's worst matchup being Despia. As you can see, he's not even playing the IP Masquerena, which in my previous lists I've been playing. I've felt that it is mandatory as a way to deal with Lanatus, but when you have this Kwakimaru Drago in your main deck when backed up by a Borreload Furious Dragon, you obviously don't have to worry about that since you know that they can't special summon anyway. Double Disruptor is also not really that bad of an include when it comes to Dragon Link, since even outside of this application for helping your worst matchup, it's also just solid for helping you play through Nibiru, as well as allowing you to generate more advantage by searching Rapid Trigger. And even if everything's going according to plan, they don't have hand traps, nothing's really going wrong, you can always summon this card off of Pisty as just a way to turn Pisty into a double reborn instead of a singular reborn, which is really nice. So honestly, not a bad inclusion into the Dragon Link strategy at all. It makes a lot of sense, and kind of surprised that we actually haven't seen this card pop up before. Interesting to me that it's taken so long for this card to find its way into Dragon Link decks, and I'm really curious to see if it sticks around. Outside of this little bit of tech, there wasn't really too much else that he talked about in his deck profile that was anything outside of the ordinary. The one thing I can mention is the one copy of Phantasme in his side deck. I believe, if I understood him correctly, this was just a direct response to Sky Striker winning YCS Hartford, and was kind of included more or less as a, well, I'm at 14 cards in my side deck, I don't really know what else to play, so I may as well just play the one of Phantasme, because I can put it in against Link decks, and it'll be good, and it's good against Striker, so I may as well just have it, and it just has natural synergy with dragons, because it itself is a dragon, so there's really no downside to putting it in, so we're just gonna put it in. But I don't think there was anything much more like profound other than that when it came to the Phantasme. I think it was more of just like a response to Striker than anything else. He didn't really have too much else to say in his deck profile, so let me know down in the comments what you think of this new addition to the Dragon Link strategy. I thought it was really neat personally, and I was really excited to see Dragon Link do so well at a major event. I believe there was over 1,500 players at the French Nationals, so really cool to see Dragon Link do well at such a large field, and just in general over this past weekend. Also, to those of you who have been asking me for updated combos in regards to the Adventure Dragon Link deck and to the Adventure Punk deck that I posted, don't worry, I see you guys, and I'll be working on getting out those videos for you guys shortly, so keep an eye out for that. Anyway, that's about all I have for you guys today, so remember to subscribe if you enjoyed today's video, and I hope to see you in the next one.